Today I'm not talking about any particular book. I am just going to be doing something that I've wanted to do for a long time, which is reading my old writing from like 10, 12 years ago. So if you're new here, my name is Melanie, and I talk about things I learned from books, and sometimes I just make fun videos, about what I'm reading and what I like to do. In this case, I'm reading stuff I wrote when I was a kid, so like a bunch of chapter ones and things like that, and it's gonna be really funny, hopefully, and embarrassing. That's all I can hope for at this point. Alright, okay, well, it starts off with this thing is titled Agrees to Go with Cousin, which I was confused about, and then I remembered I tried to write a choose your own adventure, which is kind of hard. Second person perspective, present tense. Get ready. You were so excited for the 4th of July. You get to be in the parade, and afterward, your family goes to your aunt and uncle's house to swim in their swimming pool. Starting off with 2 exclamation points for each of those sentences. The parade goes well. Your family and some friends are advertising for your father's company. Many people clap as you go down Main Street on the green, blue, and white float. I didn't use an Oxford comma. She was a rebel back then. Okay. On the green, blue, and white float that symbolizes the animal and plant Go Green Foundation. On your way down the street, you find that the same people keep appearing. Men and women in white t-shirts and blue shorts. Clap and cheer in fake excitement. You wonder why they do so. How do we know they're fake excited? I think I meant to have them be like a creepy cult, which was like a big, that's a big leap for your first choose your own adventure novel. But that's what I did. So anyway. Okay, so later they have a yellow lab. They're playing fetch with a tennis ball and it gets lost into an orange tree orchard. This is getting culty, isn't it? They're gonna go into the orange orchard and get unalived or something. We're going on to another document titled Beauty and the Beast. We're just jumping right in. Goodbye, Marilyn, I waved back at my sister and best friend. And goodbye, Greg. Greg waved and suddenly ran up to me. Wait, he said. What is it, Greg? He laughed at my impatience. Will you please give this letter to my uncle who lives near Port Erith? I named it Port Erith. Greg handed me a small envelope addressed to Rollin Embish, who must have been Greg's uncle. Sure, Greg, but where exactly does he live? I want everyone to know that every time so far that this character has spoken to Greg, she has said Greg's name. So, that's cute. She's either really annoyed with him or she's in love with him. That's what that means. Has nothing to do with my writing. Okay, where exactly does he live? Greg shrugged. To tell you the truth, all I know is that he lives near Port Erith. Ask around, Elaine. You'll find him. Oh, her name's Elaine. I rolled my eyes. Okay, I'll try. Thanks, Greg laughed again. Are you cold? No, Greg. You've asked me that 1,000 times already, and I must go. Greg nodded and smiled. Just don't be gone too long, okay? If anyone's wondering, this kid's name that she's talking to, his name's Greg. I know it's super confusing and you weren't sure, but his name's Greg. Gotta stay caffeinated for this one. So, yeah, his name's Greg. Oh. Now, okay. Greg nodded and smiled. Just don't be gone too long, okay? Now he was serious and didn't smile. He went, okay. We met eyes for the slightest moment. His blue eyes glittering in the light of the early morning sun, and my brown ones stared to one another, and I quickly looked away. I'm thinking that I self-inserted myself, because she's got brown eyes, and I was like, brown eyes are beautiful, okay? And they are, but no need to be crazy. And then I stopped caring about the story because everyone knows how Beauty and the Beast goes, except apparently instead of having a Gaston character, I wrote Greg, who's like the childhood best friend. Dude, I was doing that love triangle stuff early. Yep. I was like, Greg who? A half boar, half bear, half lion man. 150%. Okay, I don't know what the heck this is. This is titled Bob in the Wild. I was a weird kid. Oh, it's poetry I wrote for class. Okay, this one's called Spiderweb. His gossamer winds around his prey, gone, pale and lifeless. Supper was delicious. Blood, easy catch, sticky web of thread. I think like there's a vibe here, like they're very vertical poems. A lot of description. That was dark. That was dark. Cute. Okay. Breathing is what this one's called. Fascinating. Asleep and dreaming, your breath is deep and slow. And as you run like the wind, your heart is beating fast, and your breathing is quick. This one's called Letters. We wrote no letters. They were just empty words. But later we read them, and we missed each other. We were both gone, all on our own. Those are fun. If time travel is real, I don't want my past self to see this because I'm not making fun of you. Oh boy, the font is teeny tiny. Okay, let's make it bigger so I can read it. 15-point font. The forbidden size. This is just called Cadence. I think that's probably the character's name. The truck bounces along wild dirt road. We're close to Northridge, and this is evident when we come to the big white sign with red paint that says no trespassing. It stands solitarily by the big metal gate that is very familiar. Dad turns the truck toward the gate, and I hurry to open the door and jump out of the truck. I run up to the gate and unhitch the metal bars. I swing the gate open, and it squeaks at a frightening pitch. Dad drives on through, leaving enough room for me to shut the gate and hook it back up. I turn and jump back into our truck, where Dad waits with a silent high five. You hear that? It's a silent high five. Oh my gosh. I've gotten used to the process. It has almost become natural when I see that gate to open it, as though I've done it my entire life. Girl can open a gate. That was boring. This one is titled Camellia. Camellia didn't believe she would ever leave her father's mansion. Boy. Okay, keep going. He was hardly like a father at all, and she was more of a pet or something he had to clean up after than a daughter to him. What I want to know is, she potty trained? You know, like, is that why he has to clean up after her? Because then I'd be mad too. I'd be like, I didn't sign up for this. But then, like, potty train your kid. She constantly longed to leave the island with her best friend Amanda, but that was not going to happen anytime soon, or so she believed. It's probably going to happen soon. Okay. At the moment, she sat in the library. She was currently engaged in one of her favorite books, The Blue Beyond. It was a thrilling tale of adventure that takes place at sea, which was Camellia's favorite place. She was sure that if she had been a fish rather than a human, she would have been a lot happier. But instead of scales, she had skin. Darn it. And instead of gills, she had lungs. Instead of a life swimming happily along the reef, she had a life of the most boring walking on the sandy shore, hoping for a fish's life. Note to anyone trying to date Camellia, she does not like long walks on the beach. Bless you! Yeah, I realized pretty quickly, even before the mentioning of being a fish, that this was a Little Mermaid retelling that I attempted. I just did Beauty and the Beast. Why not also do The Little Mermaid? That'd be cool if she, became a mermaid instead of the other way around. Let's see where this goes. The library was empty. Nobody else in the mansion enjoyed reading as much as she did, so everything was silent. But then the door opened to reveal one of Camellia's friends, Bastiv? Okay. A servant of her father's and a dear friend to Camellia herself. Bastiv, in his appropriate way, said to Camellia something that she had expected him to say. Camellia Vordel, your father summons you to his training room. It is time for your lessons. Camellia sighed and set her book aside, even though she had reached the climax in the story. Tell father I will be there soon, but then I must dress first. She not dressed? Okay. Camellia's father watched her every day as the trainer taught Camellia sword fighting. She was magnificent at it, of course, and that was the reason she spent so much time each day. Training? I have no idea. She would even practice on her own late at night when she couldn't get to sleep. Her father found it would be useful in life for her to have the knowledge of this skill. Her dad sounds kind of cool. Sword fighting lessons, but he probably won't let her go outside because it's dangerous because the mom died or something. Anyway, that's all that I wrote. I'm telling you, I was the queen of chapter 1s. Everyone's like, I wrote a whole book when I was 14. It's not very good. And I'm like, I wrote a whole book worth of chapter 1s, and it's also not good. Oh, Camellia again? She's sitting at a desk. We'll see how this goes. I gotta get a sip first. It's literally the same thing. Oh, there's a sentence in here I like, though, so I'm going to read it. Camellia sat at her desk, looking over the map of the side coast that her father had given her to look at. What the heck? There was so much work to do. Her father was a tradesman. He sent items and received items he could sell and make himself rich with. So the man lived with his daughter, the cook, and several servants because he was able to buy all of them? What? Camellia didn't quite care much of her father. Not quite. Goodness. Girl. Who's Camellia and why does she have daddy issues? That's what I want to know. Okay, this one's literally titled Chapter 1. She was my sister. She wasn't just my adopted sister. I think somehow we were bound from the beginning. Before we met, I loved her, and I still do. 3 nights before she came, my father and I had the longest dinner conversation ever. It went something like this. Luke, father began. Yes, I said without looking up from my mashed potatoes. Delicious. Well, he said, swallowing nervously, Mom and I have something we need to discuss with you. Yes, I repeated. This conversation was obviously taking us nowhere. Old brat. Well, Dad said again, I was beginning to see a pattern. We'd like to talk to you about a situation that has come up. I said, not quite caring about a word he was about to say. This is an interesting opportunity for us. There are lots of things we'd need to adjust to, and I know it might be hard to do, but that's how it will be, and, Mom lays her hand on my father's and takes over the conversation. Oh, we're going right into present tense. I hate this. We want to adopt a girl. Suddenly I wish Dad were still talking because Mom was too blunt. What? Mom glances at Dad and takes a deep breath. Mom is in present tense. Mom is living in the present. Everyone else is living in the past. Okay. Oh, this is so funny. Mom glances at Dad and takes a deep breath. Life has become difficult for the Unders. Who are the Unders? Is this a last name or a society? The orphanage program hasn't been able to make a comfortable home for the children, and many teenagers aren't being adopted. We thought, wait, I interrupted, a teenager? I couldn't believe it. A teenage girl. This was going to be an interesting conversation. Now you're interested? You're still being a brat. Yes, Mama had a hint of smile on her face. We met with the orphanage instructor. What's an orphanage instructor? Okay. And he says this girl is 14, very nice, obedient, and, well, lonely. I'm terrified that this girl is described as obedient, and she's 14. I know I'm a substitute teacher. 14-year-olds are not obedient, and that sounds like a creepy thing for an orphanage instructor to say. I'm just saying, okay? You're kidding, I started to say. No, Luke, we aren't. Mom's tone was serious. Oh, Mom's in past tense now. This is serious. Her name is Emily, and she will be here in 3 days. That's one way to prepare an 11-year-old for adoption. Wow. Parenting 101. 3 days. I had 3 days to get used to the idea that I'd have an older sister for the rest of my life. Then I'd have to meet her and pull off a performance of smiles and handshakes. I really hoped she wasn't a hugger type of girl. I hated hugs. My worry grew with each thought. That's actually kind of cute. He's going to be like, oh, she's really nice. She's my best friend. I scooted up from my seat, took my dishes, and set them in the sink. Then I tried to hurry out of the room for some privacy. Hold on, Luke. I really wanted everyone to remember the names of characters during dialogue. This guy's name's Luke earlier, if you've forgotten, and I can't believe that you did. It was Greg. Hold on, Luke, Mom said. I know this is hard, but I need you to please be the perfect brother and friend for Emily. This girl doesn't have a family and probably isn't used to 11-year-old boys, so no messing this up, okay? Oh, this is titled Dragons. Looks like it's a few sentences long. Where is it? A raspy yet powerful voice shouted from the darkness. It is probably long gone by now. You have no chance of finding it, a knight in armor said confidently. They have escaped. The small, withered creature in the darkness smiled evilly. But the knight didn't even notice. Don't you remember? The evil voice spoke. The knight didn't need to say any more. He fell into remembrance of those days. He was so sidetracked that he didn't notice the raspy-voiced personage stepping from his corner. Goodbye, the voice whispered harshly, as his once hidden knife sank into the heart of the brave knight. And that was it. I'm guessing that was a prologue. Heaven forbid. Next document is titled Dwarf. Okay. And the top of the page says, can you believe it? Chapter 1. Okay. The man in black armor, the king of evil, the worshipped of all men, or you could call him Zendal. Zendal? Zendal's less cool. He was an evil man in a dark place of thought wherever he ventured, and he hardly ever cared for others. Okay. And he hardly ever cared for those others than himself. His mind was too dark to hold anything wise, and although he was rather clever, he never used his strength for the good. He had an army of men. They were all dressed in black armor, and they were all, including himself, heading to battle. Zendal had declared it himself. The battle wouldn't exist if he hadn't planned it, but his opponents, in quotes, did not know of this battle to come. Zendal had planned to have his 18 spies go into the city at night. I don't know why 18. Past the curfew and head to the castle to slay the 7 princesses along with the king and queen. Zendal had been dreaming of this victory for a long time, a very long time indeed. And so with his large army and his 18 spies, he led them on the crisp spring morning to the land of Pelagia, the land of the plains. Burn it, it's boring. Walking on, Zendal decided to take time for lunch and then go hide the army where the Pelagians wouldn't find them. How do you hide a whole army in the plains? After all his men had eaten, Zendal gathered them to discuss the plan one last time. Remember, you mustn't allow anyone to let you have mercy. Mercy leads fools to their deaths, and death is the most unwanted thing. Zendal himself didn't care who died, but rather was worried that his army would become too small. Mercy leads fools to their deaths. I'm going to put that on a t-shirt. If we get like 100 likes on this video, I'm telling you, I will put Mercy leads fools to their death on a t-shirt. I will do it. Chapter 1. And I put the little squigglies outside of it, and the chapter 1 is at 48-point font, so you know it's important. This is the one that'll get me published. Jenna knelt on the large picnic blanket, leaning against a tree behind her. Her best bud, Anne, sat near her. They opened the picnic basket filled with sandwiches, apples, veggies, some cookies, and a pitcher of lemonade. Anne licked her lips while Jenna added a yum. Cringe. These two friends had been planning this picnic for a while now. It was such a pain to try and fit a time in for this special occasion. Eventually, they were able to begin the picnic. Jenna picked up a ham sandwich and dug in, while Anne scooped up an apple and crunched into it. Crunch. That's if you were wondering. Anne swallowed her third bite of apple and spoke. I'm so glad we could plan this spring picnic all by ourselves. It turned out to be worth all the planning, didn't it? I'm guessing by the font size and the fact that I didn't know to separate the dialogue in 2 different paragraphs. I was younger when I wrote this one. So this will be my final reading of this part 1 today. Okay. I had just moved to a new neighborhood in the summertime. Around then, all the girls there were talking about a camping trip. They invited me to come along. I hated camping. It was too dirty. I'm a city girl, so why would I go camping? Well, here's the answer. My mom isn't a city girl and wanted me to. So I basically had no choice. Camping it was. Oh, I hate her. I'll fight her. Arm wrestle this little girl. I'd be there for 2 whole weeks. The moms that were going planned on leaving to a cool place called Spring Valley. I had no idea where this was, but my friends... What a little brat. All the quotation marks of sass. Okay. But my friends told me it was an awesome forest and had lots of tall trees. I'm adding that sass. That's on me. They also said it was deep in the mountains. That meant no reception, no contact with my dad. They're divorced, aren't they? Yep, my parents divorced a year ago. Mom was shy and loved the outdoors. She painted in red and so on and so on. My dad was a professor at Dixie College in St. George, Utah. A lot of these kids had a lot of attitude. Anyway, if you want me to make more of these, I totally will. I have a lot more to read than I realized. I love you guys. Thanks for listening to me read stuff I wrote when I was a wee lass. Thanks for watching. If you like stuff like this, please let me know. I'll get back to you with more book thoughts and my own writing, apparently, because that was entertaining for me. Anyway, have a wonderful day, and thanks for watching.